Hey guys, welcome back to the Rebel Tea House. I'm your host, Figured Base, and joining me today is my really good friend and Magic the Gathering artist, Schmandrew Art, also known as Andrew Thompson. Let's get into the tea. Now, Andrew, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Andrew Thompson, or Schmandrew Art on social medias. That's primarily just because there's a lot of other Andrew Thompsons out there that do art and design. I am a relatively new magic artist. My first cards came out in Duskmourn last fall, and then I've been working on art for Magic since the summer of 2023. And before that, I've been doing my own personal artwork and also freelance for a bunch of other games and companies throughout the industry.
So, you are a fairly new magic artist. Your first one was Duskmourn. How has the reception by the magic community been being a newer artist?
The reception's been really great. I was honestly a little surprised by it at first because my first introduction to that was MagicCon Vegas last fall. And my cards had been out for maybe like 2 or 3 weeks. And I was like, why would they let me into this show with only 3 cards when I applied? Because I applied when none of my cards were out yet. And so I was just like, well, why not? The
Time
worst
to,
it can do is tell me no.
yeah, time to fuck around and find out.
Exactly. Like that's honestly one of my mottos when it comes not the fuck around and find out, but
No, that's
like
mine.
mine is the worst they can say is no.
Yeah.
Is one of my like mottos when it comes to illustration and this career in general.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've gotten several opportunities by just kind of messaging people and being like, "Hey, like I think I'd be a good fit for you." Like I think I did that with Dragon Shield.
Yeah.
I tweeted at them and was like, "Hey, you guys got a lot of colorful sleeves. I like a lot of color. We should work together." And then the next day I had an email from them. So like
Hey,
sometimes it
if it
works.
works, it works.
Exactly.
So one thing, so we met at MagicCon Vegas, right,
Yes.
last year, and I was very surprised that you actually knew how to play Magic the Gathering, because I feel like most Magic artists don't know how to play necessarily. So what is it
Yeah.
like being an artist for a game that you love to play?
It's really really cool. I mean, the one of my favorite parts about MagicCon Vegas last year was, I think it was even the first day. I had, and probably not even that far into the first day, I had somebody come up with a playset of unstoppable slashers to get signed, and they were like, "Oh my god, I have these in my standard deck. Like I love them so much. They would like have they do so well in my deck." And it was cool for me because I grew up playing Magic and I played Type
Mm-hmm.
2 way back in the day. And I would go to Gen Con in Indianapolis where I grew up. I would go to Gen Con in Indianapolis where I grew up, and I would talk to a lot of the artists all the time and ask them questions. And I'm sure I would info dump on them and be like, "Oh my god, I love this card so much. It's so great, blah, 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 blah." And they would do the thing that many Magic artists do if they don't play the game, where they're just kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah.
cool. Like, that's awesome. And you're just like, keep going and keep info dumping on them. So for me, it was really, really cool, like having that moment and being like, wow, like, I remember being like 14 and doing this to a magic artist. And now it's happening to me as a
Mm-hmm.
magic artist.
So
And so that was awesome.
do you play? So you play a lot of Commander and like some
Yes.
60 card stuff. Do you play with any of your cards like you got some real bangers for your first cards for Magic? You had Unstoppable Slasher, Waltz of Rage, and Hook Massacre 2, which are all three are rares, all very cracked cards. You know, Unstoppable Slasher was a meta card in
Mhm.
Mono Black Demons and Standard for a hot minute. So, how do you feel? Like, do you feel like you lucked out? Or, like, you
Oh,
just.
absolutely. Like, when it came to, because the first commission I got was Meat Hook Massacre 2,
Mm-hmm.
and playing the game, I'm like, I know what that card is. Is this a reprint? Like, is this like a super nerfed, like terrible uncommon version of it.
Yeah, because it got like
what is
banned.
this? Yeah, like I had no idea what to expect when I got the commission from it. And also it being my first commission was like, oh cool, no pressure guys. Like great. You come to the person who's played Magic for almost 20 years and you're like, hey, you know that really popular card that's like $50 that got banned almost immediately in standard? What if you did the follow-up to that?
That's so funny.
It was definitely like a bit of getting over that like anxiety of like, oh, I have to follow this up.
Right.
And then I don't actually run any of my cards in any of my decks right now. Like I thought about putting Hook Massacre 2 in. I have a Glissa the Trader Artifacts deck.
We love her.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite decks, and I built it without a lot of the like sacrifice effects and went more with like I really like lore effects with Glissa since she has first strike and death touch.
Yeah.
So it's really fun to put like Nemesis Mask on her and swing it at somebody and make all their things block.
I had a really toxic Glissa deck where I used the Mindslaver combo.
No, if I did that with my friends, if I did that with Corey and Tony, the way Tony would probably have murdered me like in real life by now.
So, before we get too off track,
yeah.
What's the process like when you've been commissioned by Magic to make a card for them?
Yeah, so the process when it comes to being commissioned is the art director will usually reach out and ask if you're available and give you maybe like a rough description of what the project is. And then they will send like a more official email that's like, here's the description of like the card and the art. So like a really great example would be like for Waltz of Rage, the prompt was something like, there's this woman in a red dress and there's reflections of her all around with like red glowing lights bouncing off of the reflections, and she's like, you know, super angry, and you know, all of her reflections are various like anger adjacent emotions. And that was kind of it. And then it usually references, they send us like a PDF that's like 200 or 300 pages long, that's like all the concept art and has a lot of descriptions of the story and the world. And so they'll usually reference like certain pages for each card that you get, so that you can kind of go there and be like, oh, like I'm drawing a Razorkin. So like they gave you examples of what Razorkins look like, and you know, kind of how spiky and gnarly they look. And so then after that, you usually submit like 2 to 3 sketches, sometimes more. And you can do anywhere from like black and white to color. I usually do color just because like my art would be so colorful that I feel like I need to give my clients like a good expectation of kind of where it's going to go.
Yeah.
And then the art director will come back with feedback and be like, oh, we like this one, or like we like this part of this one and this part of that one. Let's add them together. And then I start working on the final.
What I love the most about like your debut is that you know, you get asked to commission for Duskmourn, right? This like dark, creepy, spooky, really goth like world, and so you're like, here's a bunch of pink and purple and super bright colors.
So the fun story with that is I was actually approached to do stuff for Aether Drift before Duskmourn. And it was going to be concept art for how the bold drift style looked. But the art director that reached out to me, they thought I was already in the WOTC system, because like if you're an artist or freelancer, I guess, you had to kind of go through like a little bit of a background check. And they like thought I'd already been cleared because on my website, I have a piece that I did for an art show back in 2018 that was an officially licensed piece through this art gallery out in California. And I did Chandra, and I got permission to put the Magic logo on it. And so the art director saw that and was like, oh, he's clearly in our system. Cool, let's work with him. And I'm super excited because I'm like, this is my first project, and like it could turn into a card. It's not guaranteed, but this is a great way to start. And we talked on like a Thursday or Friday on like a Zoom call, and they sent me a couple like images, I think, and then they're like, cool, I'll get you like the PDF and all the other concept art and all that soon, and we can get going. Due date is in like 3 weeks, and it wasn't for like a finished card, it was for like just concept art, so it was like 70-75% finished.
Okay.
And I was like, cool, I can do that in like 2-3 weeks. And I'm texting them that weekend being like, hey, like whenever you're ready to send me that stuff, like I can't wait to get started on this. I was getting a little antsy, and they were like, I'm so sorry. They were like, I thought you were in the system already because of that piece on your website, but you're not. And the background check takes like 2 to 3 weeks. So we won't be able to get you approved in time to do this project. And so I just saw like my first magic thing just like poof out of my hands.
The tea.
And I was like, no. And then like a couple, like maybe a month and a half later, 2 months later, the same art director comes back to me and she was like, okay. Like, because at that point she had already gotten me like in the system and started that process. Because she was like, well, we'll go ahead and do this just so that you're in the system next time. And then she was like, hey, so it's not the same project, but it's for the set Duskmourn. And it was concept art as well. And it was meet Hook Massacre too. And so it was no guarantee that it was going to turn into an actual card.
Right.
But there was a chance that it could. So I definitely like kind of put my all into it so that, I could hopefully get it turned into a card. But it was, the art director, they felt so bad. And I was like, no, it's fine. Like, I get it.
Yeah, you just crushed my dreams.
Oh, there was definitely a moment where I was like, I promise, like, I won't do anything or say anything if you, like,
not the like, listen, girl, like, don't ask, like, don't tell, okay?
Like I played this game for 20 years. Like, as an artist, I want to do this. Like,
yeah,
please.
like, please. Well, I'm so
like, I'm
glad.
not gonna shoot myself in the foot. I promise. Like, pinky promise.
Well, speaking of a bunch, sets that you've been doing, what are your thoughts on like the large amount of sets and product that's been released, and how does that affect you as an artist?
So I don't know if those two questions are connected for me specifically.
Okay.
Because as a player, I think there's too many releases every year.
Yeah.
I will say with the Universes Beyond stuff, there's a lot of it that I don't have any personal connection to. So like with Final Fantasy that recently came out, I didn't buy any of it. The only Final Fantasy stuff that I bought was for my friends Corey and Tony as like a gift for helping me at Vegas this year. But I have not spent any money on Final Fantasy aside from that, because I was like, I know nothing about this set and it feels wrong for me to buy it. So in a way, it's kind of nice when they do have some of those sets throughout the year, because then it allows me to kind of take a break from Magic for a little bit, and I don't have to like be like, oh my god, another set's coming out in a few weeks. Like I can kind of like be like, yeah, I can ignore this set for the most part. Like I did buy a couple singles here and there of Final Fantasy, but it was like the very vague fantasy like art stuff where I was like, this just looks like a cool place. It's, one of the adventure lands.
Right.
Or like one of the saga creatures for like my every creature type deck for like Leviathan or whatever. And so those ones I was like, okay, I can put these in here because like it's not like, Cloud. And I'm not going to like playing this card isn't going to invite somebody to be like, oh my god, like you love Final Fantasy too, and I'm going to be like, no. So on that side of things as a player, like I do think there's too many sets, especially if you're somebody who does keep up with every single set. Like I feel so bad sometimes for content creators because I'm like, oh man, like you guys don't get a break.
It's nonstop. But as an artist.
But then as an artist, like I haven't been approached to work on like every single set that comes out each year. Like so far, I mean, this is also very early in my, career as a Magic artist. So like it might change in, 6 months, who knows? But like so far, like I was contacted to work on Duskmourn, and then I was contacted to work on Aether Drift because they had, the style got figured out for the Bold Drift, and they were like, well, you still look like you belong in this world. So they, hired me to do that. And then I got hired to do the box art for the collector booster boxes of Edge of Eternities.
Yes, which is
And
super
that was,
gorgeous.
thank you. It is one of my favorite pieces, and I'm so proud of it. And it's also um, part of the reason I got that job was because I have a personal illustration called Anticipation. That's like a space illustration.
Yes.
And that piece, like, unfortunately was never like a really popular piece at cons, but I really liked it because of the message behind it, because it was about like, anticipating like, personal change from like something that could be a little scary. So like the example for me would be like going into therapy and getting an ADHD diagnosis. And so for me, that piece was really special. And it was really cool when the art director for that project came to me and she was like, we love this piece. Like, this is what we want.
Yeah.
Like, do this, but magic. And I was like, oh, like, this is great. One of my personal pieces was like what, kind of inspired them to choose me and for like the concept with that piece.
Yeah, and your personal pieces are gorgeous. I mean, you've heard this plenty of times, but the Viper, that would be like a perfect Lotus Cobra.
I know. Well, you can actually, funny you say that, you can actually get it as a Lotus Cobra altar sleeve on altersleeves.com. So if you go there and you search Schmandrew Art, you can find it. But it is titled as Rose Viper, I think, underneath it, because I was like, if I put this as Lotus Cobra, somebody's gonna be like, this isn't a lotus, this is a rose.
Right? So,
yeah. And then I know too, like, as a magic artist, when it comes to all the sets coming out, especially when it comes to Universes Beyond stuff, and I've only done one Universes Beyond thing that's not out yet, but my experience with it is that as an artist, the pay is a little bit higher, but we don't get artist proofs. We can't make prints. We can't make playmats. And so that's a little bit of a bummer, because I feel like it's always fun to, get the artist proofs. Because like not every piece works well as a print and a mat, but artist proofs are really cool. I've really developed an appreciation for them.
Oh yeah, they're just beautiful, like just pieces of the card. So for those of you who don't know what an artist proof is, artists get a certain amount of proofs where it's the art and the card in the front, but it's completely blank and white on the back. And different artists do different things. Sometimes they do sketches. Sometimes they'll just, do a little serialized version, which I think like Arcade Post kind of started that trend.
Yeah.
And that's really good income for artists, to continue making that income at conventions. And I feel like when you're doing Universes Beyond cards, that's like premium real estate to get an artist proof of Spider-Man. So speaking on more art, you've mostly done special treatments so far for Magic. Can we expect, or are you interested in doing art for the classic Magic card border?
I mean, the short answer to that is yes. Like any Magic stuff I'm really, kind of interested in. Assuming like the set and everything feels like a good fit for me. I just think right now, because my style is like really bright, vibrant, graphic, and kind of like can be overwhelming and like a lot going on, it definitely is probably best suited for Secret Lair and for like alternate art treatments and things like that. So far I have not been commissioned to do any like main set regular border stuff, but if it happens, that'd be cool. I know there are some artists who started out doing like Secret Lair and alternate arts, like Wiley Beckert.
Yeah.
And then they transitioned into doing stuff in the main set. And same thing with, I think, was it Dominic Mayer maybe?
I think also
there's some other artists that have a very graphic style.
Yeah,
or maybe Jeremy Wilson.
I think Justine Jones.
Yeah, Justine.
She started. I think she started a Secret Lair, and then they were like, "Hey, come do Baldur's Gate for us."
Yeah. So like I know there's a shot at it. Like I'm totally fine doing alt art stuff though too, because going back to the artist proofs, I always tell folks with artist proofs, because we only get like 50 of each printing, so like 50 foil, 50 non-foil.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell folks who look at my artist proofs, I'm like, just so you know, like what I do is primarily alternate arts, and so it's very unlikely they reprint these with this frame
Yeah.
ever again.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's just 50. Like I always tell
Yeah,
people,
that's
it's
it.
like,
That's all there is.
yeah.
So, what's your favorite piece of art that you've created for Magic the Gathering?
So currently, I would say the piece for Edge of Eternities is my favorite. I like each one for various reasons. Like my favorite at Duskmourn was Waltz of Rage. That one was just so much fun to do, and I asked, our friend Miranda Meeks to be the model for it while she and I were at a con together.
Yeah, that's a funny story.
Yeah, and so it's just, I always tell folks that come up and get that card signed or like get the artist proof, I'm like, well, like if you go over to there, you can also get Miranda to sign it.
Right.
Because when I told her about the prompt at the con we were at, I was like, yeah, I just need reference of this. Like she's like an angry woman and she's wearing a red dress. And Miranda just goes, oh, I packed a red dress. And I was just like, perfect, great.
Let's go.
And then of course Miranda, it's like impossible for her to keep
look
an angry face
I know,
and
she's
look
just so
actually
sweet.
angry.
Yeah.
There's so many times that she laughed, and I have so many funny pictures of her trying to be intimidating and scary, and it just not working. So there was that one in Duskmourn, and then I would say for Aether Drift, I'm really proud of Earth Rumbler. That one was super fun because it's this cool
I know,
bug vehicle.
Very
with,
good in City's
background.
Roots. Yeah, I loved Earth. Such a cutie. I just love bugs.
And the little bug guy was so much fun
little bug
to
guy
do.
is so cute.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about the inspiration? I know it was for the Edge of Eternities collector box art. I know you said it was, anticipation, like they wanted you to kind of recreate this, but what's the story going on between, I believe it's Tezzeret and who's the other person?
So the working title for her was Sarathi when I started the project, and then yesterday I discovered that her name is now Hylia.
Hylia, okay.
Or Hylia.
Hylia.
Something like that.
We'll figure it out. Editor will correct us.
Yeah, because I made a post to Blue Sky yesterday, and I put in the alt text, I was like, oh, this is Sarathi, blah, 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 blah. And then somebody commented later after I had seen a post about Edge of Eternities and seen her card, and I was like, oh no, they changed her name. And then I was praying, I was like, please let nobody read the alt text, please let nobody read the alt text. And then somebody was like, hey, I read the alt text, and I noticed that it says Sarathi. Is that right? Is that a working title for her? And I was like, it must be. And then thankfully my AD, who I tagged her in a post as well about the piece, she responded and was like, yeah, they changed the name, but that was the working name for her when I did the project. But the story, I guess the concept behind that is for that one, that was it was one illustration that was going to be turned into two different things.
Okay.
So they needed Tezzeret and Hylia to be on separate layers so that you could kind of move them around for the packaging, and the package designer could kind of tweak things and really refine it. And I had to do a lot of painting underneath things so that if you did move something, it wasn't just blank or scribbly. So I had to do a lot more of that kind of work than I'm used to, because typically if there's something over top of something else in my work, I don't do anything underneath it. So that created a little bit more work for me, but the concept was kind of at least how I took it was that almost in an anime, when you have two brooding characters who are trying to fight each other or find each other, and they have their little moment where it's the music plays over top of them, maybe looking out the front window or whatever of their spaceship, and kind of I'll get you, and
I got very
so, for Tezzeret.
I got very Studio Trigger vibes.
Yeah.
A comic got killed.
Yeah. The other funny thing too about that art for Edge of Eternities was, since they told me how much they liked Anticipation, and that piece and concept and how it was space and everything, I actually just used the same reference photo that I used for the character in Anticipation for Halia in the Edge of Eternities packaging. And because like in Anticipation, the character, she's wearing like a space helmet and you can't see any hair or anything. And so like when I did the Edge of Eternities box, I was like, oh, okay, cool, like we'll just use the same reference. They clearly like this one.
Yeah.
And then I didn't tell my AD until I think after I turned it in and it got approved, and she was like, honestly, that's hilarious. She was like, yeah, she was like, we told you we liked this and that this was why we approached you for it. And it's a character who is like, it's a side profile shot. So I just flipped it the other way and used that same reference.
That's so funny. Hey, if it works,
it
like, works.
It's a good reference photo, so why not use it again, right? But yeah, so that piece was really fun, and it was fun to kind of like, show Halia like having this like determined but like kind of content and like almost like excited for the challenge kind of look, and then Tezzeret kind of having a like more like sinister vibe to him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, very much looks like she's gonna put him in his place for sure.
Oh yeah,
as
definitely.
She should.
I mean, look at that axe. Like, that axe is so cool.
Oh yeah, it's so, I love it. It's so cool that it's also gonna be like on the collector box. I'm gonna have to save the box and like put it.
That's what I'm gonna do too. There's part of me that's honestly tempted to pre-order 2 collector booster boxes, and I don't know if I can do this. Like, I don't know if my willpower is strong enough, but there's part of me that's tempted to keep one of them sealed. But
I could never.
I don't know how long I can do it.
Well, guys, thank you for joining us and hanging out with me and Schmandrew Art, aka Andrew Thompson.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, look forward to some more interviews with some other of our artist friends, and make sure to check out all of their social medias. We'll link their store, their socials, all that good stuff in the description. And make sure to subscribe, like, ring that notification bell, all that good shit that we tell you at the end of every episode. But yeah,
definitely do that.
Yeah, do that. Well, guys, it's been a blast. See you on the next one. Cheers.